Hi, I'm Susan Papanicholas from How Does Your Garden Grow in Seattle, Washington. I'm here today at the end of April in my own garden to show you one of my favorite perennials. This is Geum Totally Tangerine. I love this variety of geum for adding a bold punch of color that is easy to take care of and lasts for a long time in the garden. There are lots of varieties of geums out there, and they come in really beautiful colors. There's a lot of different ones to choose from. I like Totally Tangerine the best for a few reasons. One is it gets quite tall, which helps it pack more of a punch. And these stems stay upright on their own. They don't need staking, even though they come up into this higher space. It has a really beautiful color to the blossoms. I really love this light orange on the inside and then the darker orange kind of tinged with pink on the backside. That little touch of pink in there and that variation of color within the plant helps it blend with a lot of other plants. It can look really good with purples, it can look good with reds, it can look good with pinks. So this plant is something that I can use in a lot of different color palettes and in a lot of different settings, and it works well. I really like that about it. I also really like that if you deadhead it when the stems are finished blooming, it will put on more blossoms. So this is a repeat bloomer and can take you well into the growing season. So it's the end of April now, and it's just gotten up and started to look fantastic in the last week or so. There's a ton more buds here on these stems. And as each flower finishes, more flowers on the stem will start blooming. Eventually, all the flowers on one stem will have finished blooming, and you'll have these cute little seed heads left behind. And at that point, it's a great idea to cut that whole stem off at the base. You can follow the stem down to the bottom of the plant and cut it off, and that will deadhead it. It'll take that old flowering stem away, and that will help promote new flowering stems as the plant keeps going through the growing season. So you get a really long bloom time on this plant. You get these gorgeous flowers. They're tall, bold, and beautiful, and it's super easy to take care of. When you get to the end of the growing season and it's finished blooming, you can cut all the old flowering stems off when they start looking crummy to you, and it will overwinter as a little low mound of green leaves. It's kind of surprising because those leaves tend to stay green, in Seattle at least, all winter long. By the end of winter, when we get into February and March, the leaves look a little tattered, and it can help to pull off the older leaves and the more tattered looking leaves before the new growth starts in late March, early April. Then that little mound of leaves will get fluffier with new growth and new leaves and turn into a bigger mound of green leaves. And then in April, you'll start getting these flowering stems shooting up from that base of leaves. Each flowering stem is branched and has quite a lot of blossoms on it. So you get a lot of punch from one plant, and it can be really wonderful to grow. Geums like full sun. They like to get even moisture throughout the growing season, although they can take a little bit of drought, but they're not totally drought tolerant. And they're pretty carefree. They don't have a lot of bugs. They don't have a lot of diseases. They don't need staking. If you don't deadhead them, you might not get as long of a bloom time, but if you do deadhead them, you'll get blooms well into the growing season. So it's a really fantastic plant for adding a lot of punch to the garden.